So this is another very exciting lessons part of the FODMC, the pointillism. We'll be doing it with Buttercream, and we are also going to use a portrait, and the one that I am going to do, that's the image that I want to show to you. And I also have the square buttercream cake. It's a 7-inch cake, and when you're going to do, you're going to use buttercream, and we'll stick to American buttercream because it is going to take some time for also me to guide you as you're going to work on the portrait. And once you get the hang of it, and then you could use any medium for that matter. When ganache would work and whipping cream would work when there is not very extensive detailing like a portrait. But for pointillism, any medium will work. The pointillism is nothing but having to do dots. We have done extensive dot practice in the initial piping practices lesson. We are going to use that. We are also going to make sure the dots are going to be like really very small, so we are able to capture a lot of colorful details that will be in the painting, and that we are just going to also transfer it onto the cake. So you could be using American buttercream, a 1:3 ratio if it is like too sweet. But then if you're just going to keep it for quite some time until you're just going to have the approvals done, and stage by stage you're just going to keep going after taking approval from me or one of the mentors, then it is better to have a 1:3, which is 1 part of butter to 3 parts of icing sugar, and beat them like you practice buttercream itself. And then once you have the buttercream, and we're just going to do the sharp edges as well. So the technique you will use to do the sharp edges of the square cake is nothing but the same ganache square sharp edges. Everything is just the same. There is no change at all. You'll all do the board to board and finish every other technique, and then have the sharp edges all around, and then we are ready to go to the next step. But for doing pointillism, you don't have to have a sharp edges cake like that. It is quite fine if you're going to have even a naked finish, but you just want the sides to be a proper square and a flat top, and you don't want to have the dome of the cake on the top. And then you could just follow the rest of the techniques in the future if you have to do a pointillism. And then the sides you could just be covering it up with buttercream, and then just create some textures or some messy finish that will go with the pointillism. But however, for this course, we just want to maximize the learning in each of the lessons. You're just going to have a basic technique, and then on top of that, we are also going to have an additional cake decorating technique that will go on top. So we just keep every week learning more and more the basic and an add-on top of that. So you guys will get your buttercream square cake sharp edges done using the same ganache cake lessons technique. And once that is there, now in the further lessons, I am going to show you how we are going to pick up an inspiration. We are all going to do a portrait. That is the most difficult part when we are going to work on any painting for that matter. So I have this image here, but I am going to also show you how you could just browse through and find a portrait that you would like to work on your cake, and then I will show you how to resize it to the cake that you are going to work on. And here in this particular painting, there are quite a lot of colors. There are like more than hundreds, and it is quite difficult to have the exact same gradient as you're going to do it with point or the dot painting, which is pointillism. So I'm going to show you another process which is called vectorization, which will just reduce the total number of colors in a painting. They will be coming like in patches, but they are going to gradually have the gradation, and that way we will be able to figure out which part of the painting, like each section will have a specific color, and it is going to make it easier for us, while the image or the entire portrait will be intact, and we are not going to lose so much of the overall impact that this painting will create using the dot painting. But we are not going to make it exactly like a painting, because we are not going to have any blending action that we could just get to have the gradient. So now I'll catch you up in the next further lessons, where I'm going to take you step by step, and once we have all the image ready, we're just going to move on to tracing the image, and then we are going to transfer that onto the cake, and we'll be actually doing the pointillism, the dot painting on the cake. So see you in the next lesson.